Remember, the very basis of every business is a single question. It doesn't matter the business you're in, but the very basis of every business is a single question. In fact, anybody who's ever met with me will tell you this is the first question I ask. What problem are you solving? Okay? So you've kind of answered that for your business. Where it gets tricky is the second question, which is, is there money in the problem? See, even if I solve a problem, as long as that problem is not a pain point material enough for the market I'm solving it for, then what I'm doing is I'm tickling myself. In academic terms, it's called intellectual masturbation. No, that's actually a term. An intellectual masturbation is when professors meet to talk about things that mean fuck all. But for them, do you know what I'm trying to say? Because the thing they talk, it's their thing. You know, if you ever see tech people, mechanics, you know, they talk about it, you're like, what are you talking about? Anyone who's into like a niche, people who are into cigars, into wines, they can have a 5-hour conversation. And you're like, look, it's white, it's red. Nyapuza, nyatagwa. This is it. Make sense? So I hesitate to say this, but I'm thinking that there is not a lot of this in the problem you're solving based on the people for whom you're solving the problem. Yeah? So one part is, if a person, remember, change is a premium, right? Let me take a step back. So human beings are driven by habit. And the reason human beings are driven by habit, people who study the brain tell us, they did both cognitive psychology studies, but also actually neuroscientists have proven to us that the brain is the most efficient mechanism in the human body. The reason the brain has to be is because were it not for the brain, we wouldn't have survived living in the caves. So the reason human beings have outlived other species is because the brain adapts. You come home and there's a stove on, and the stove has a red ring on it. Your brain knows not to touch that stove. It's hot. But you haven't touched it yet. You haven't even felt the heat. So what's happened over years is there's been an evolutionary process where your brain has understood danger without you having to interact with it. You know, I get like this with German Shepherds. Yeah, well, just watch too much Sarafina and I'm like, You ever visit white people and they even give their dogs human names? Eh? Say hello to Todd. You go, for tag Todd. Oh. Must say hello. Take Todd outside, man. You know what? Your brain has learned how to survive. It's learned how to adapt. But to do this, the brain forms habits. This is why you drive on the right-hand side of the car, on the left-hand side of the road. It's for your own survival. Right? You sit on the left-hand side of the car, there's no steering wheel. If you drove on the right-hand side of the road, you're going to go into oncoming traffic. So without you even thinking about it, your brain automatically adjusts. If I behave this way, I'm fine. Your brain does this all the time. Anybody who's ever been in a romantic relationship where someone broke your heart, if you date a person who does the thing the other person did, you go, waba, 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 waba. Yeah? You don't even wait for Uyachola 99. You don't wait. You don't need the episode. You're like, I have seen this script before. Because, you know, Deepak Chopra calls it electric fences. Fascinating, but he says, if you touch an electric fence and it hits you, the next time you walk past one, all you need to hear is, and your body physically feels the pain as if you've just touched it. It's exactly the same thing, right? So this thing about habits, guys, is actually very powerful because a lot of us form the wrong habits. And to unform it, man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Try this. Try wake up every single morning for 4:30 if you've never done it. That first week is hell because you're now going into your brain and you're trying to recode it. And that's not how your brain is wired. Your brain has formed certain habits to survive the world it's in, right? So the people you're working with have a certain habit written by a certain script. The way you've explained it, and I don't want to be presumptuous, is the habit is if I change behavior, I must be paid. Which is why they're saying, if I do this, uzonginika malini. But you're saying, if you do this, there's a better planet. And the person is saying, but I don't care. Because this is not a problem that's important for me. Make sense? And this is, it's the problem we spoke about, right? So it's the classic pyramid problem. This is base of pyramid, middle class, uber elite, and rich. Yeah? If you use logic, maybe I should make this bigger. So there's a lot of marketing research on this. The whole pyramid model, now they've actually proven that there's like 5 layers to the pyramid because there's an ultra lower base, different story. But the people who live at the base of pyramid have a set of competing interests and values. Yeah, you study Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you could probably overlay it onto this. But the people at the base of the pyramid have a certain series of priorities. If the problem you're solving is not a priority, they're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. So then the last thing I want to say to you, somebody said this to me actually. Who was it? It was Damien, a friend of mine. We did our MBA together. Australian, now lives in London. So we did our MBA together in the UK. And Damien said something to me, blew my mind away. I'm telling him about this problem. I'm like, Damien, and this. He says, oh, mate, you're making a classical error there, mate. Oh, mate. I said, what's the classical error? He says, you're assuming that the reason you're fixing the problem is the reason people want to buy. Wait, say that again? The reason you're doing something is not the reason the person pays you to do the thing you're doing. A soccer player plays soccer because he loves it. We watch because we want to see him score. A fighter gets in the cage because he loves it. We watch because we want to see somebody bleed. Lewis Hamilton gets in that car because he genuinely loves Formula One driving. We watch because we love competition and rivalry. Yeah? If it wasn't Lewis Hamilton, we'd be into somebody else. So you always got to remember as an entrepreneur, when you fix a problem, you got to ask yourself, the reason I'm doing this, is it the reason that they're going to buy? The reason that's important is because your entire communication strategy is built on it. Yes, comrades. Right. I just want to go back. You remember this? When I said first-time entrepreneurs focus on the product, that's what I meant. Yeah? So the first-time entrepreneur goes, I have made these pens. These pens are made from ecologically friendly plastic. What is that? I'm not sure. But the brochure from the company in Finland that makes them said it's ecologically friendly plastic. They use a water base, which means that you can remove the ink. They leave no trail of themselves in the world. These pens are fantastic. And then the person sitting in a government department says, so, Kostiana? So you went and designed your whole website, and your page was about how amazing this pen is. The first thing the guy goes is cost. The reason you sell is not the reason they buy. So you got to get close to your customer. I would suggest some sort of survey, some sort of study. You got to get close to the customer and you got to ask them, why do you do what you do? The guys at Batu came to see me was last year, the two of them, because they gave me a pair, right? And telling me about this amazing story of Batu. And I was like, guys, you guys are sitting on a damn gold mine. Like if I was running Batu, shit, they're doing well now. If I was running it, god damn. I'll tell you why. Because I was like, Batu Joe has been there as a symbol of progress and as a symbol of saying to the establishment by our people for years. Because even when they told us we couldn't go to their places, we went, Stogi Batu. Yeah? Even when they kept us in low-paying jobs, we went, Stogi Batu. It ain't just a shoe. It's a symbol not only of where I come from, but what I aspire to, because I don't put a shoe on unless I'm going somewhere. God damn, that's a marketing campaign. You get it? So the story for them might be, yeah, but it's made of mesh, it's breathing, chief. This thing. This thing, when I put it on, when's Alan? You understand? So you got to be connected to the pulse of where your people are. And then you got to make sure your story connects with what your people are going through. Yeah?